Hey, what's up everybody? New video. As you can see, we have a lot of guns, we have a lot of things to talk about. Today's topic is WE GBBRs. These are all gas blowback rifles. WE, we have the 416s over here, we have the Scar over here, Honey Badger, and WE-KAC over here. So a lot of people have been asking me during the past years, hey, which one should I buy? Because I have owned all of them. I still own this one. I owned this one, but I sold it because I got bored. Then I own this one, and recently I sold this one. So I have used all of these guns, and also in my team we have total of four 416s. We have 5 Scars, we have 4 KACs, and we have 2 Honey Badgers. So I just want to let you know that my opinions will be based on this sample, total of how many? Let's say 15 GBBRs. All of them are WE. So I've been playing exclusively with GBBRs for the past 4 years. In the winter I'm using my sniper, but I don't own AEGs anymore because I just think this is way more fun. They are superior to all of the AEGs. Everything is based on my experience, my personal experience. It's gonna be very subjective. It's not objective review. So please keep that in mind. Maybe your experiences, your opinions will be different. That's completely fine. If we all would have the same opinion, it would be a little bit boring, right? I suppose that's why you are here. You wanna hear a different opinion. So I'm not gonna tell you, hey, it's just your personal preference. Just pick the one which you think is the coolest. I'm gonna tell you, hey, buy the KAC in the end, because I think it's the superior gun. It has a lot of advantages, but also some disadvantages. So let's make this straight. Every single gun on this table has some advantages and disadvantages. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the things that all of them share to some degree, and I'm gonna compare one to another. And I'm gonna make a separate video on each of the platform here separately, where I'm gonna be talking specifically about the Honey Badger, specifically about the KAC, and so on and so forth. So I like all of the guns, but every single gun has some small issues that need to be tackled in order to make it work properly, in order to prevent some major failures in the future. But none of these issues is like so big that would prevent you from buying something from the table. Let's say the 416 or the Scar. So the first point that I have on my list that I want to talk about is chamber check. With every single gun on this table, you will need to do chamber check, because if there already is an BB in your chamber and you load a full magazine, this is not full, but anyways, if you load a full magazine and there is already a BB and you load a second BB, you make a double feed, like this, now you have probably broken your nozzle. So there is already a BB in the chamber, and when you push a second BB, you will most likely break the loading knob on the nozzle itself. If you do this with any of the gun, there is a high probability that you broke it. So that's the reason why I have spare bolts or just the nozzles for every single gun. This is the piece that you will most likely break off. It's not strong enough. But if you make sure that the chamber is empty before you load the magazine, meaning that you just do a chamber check, hey, it's empty, I can load the magazine, load it, that's it. So with each gun, do a chamber check, you will save yourself a lot of trouble. If there is a BB in the chamber, what you can do, you just check it, oh, there is already a BB, just let it go forward. Now you take your full magazine, you just load it, you are good to go. There's already a BB, magazine is full, now it will shoot. So another topic is trigger box. So every single WE gun will have issues at some point, maybe sooner, maybe later. There will be a problem with trigger box. What I mean by that, this gun, that's from my colleague, it already happened to him. So each time you fire the gun, there is a friction between the hammer and the trigger inside. I'm gonna do a separate video how to correct this, how to repair it, because you just need a file and file some specific places, and then it works again for a while, because that's just the nature of the material, it's not strong enough. So now you fire the gun, the bolt will go back and forth, and now, listen, it fired again, even though I haven't resetted the gun yet. So once again, I fire the gun, it will cycle, and before I get to the reset, it will fire again. Now it fired again. See? Maybe from this angle. This will happen with every single WE gun because the trigger boxes are basically the same. They are not interchangeable, the parts inside of them are, but yeah, that's a common issue. You just need to buy a replacement hammer and a trigger, or you can take a file some specific places in the trigger box, and it will work again for a while. I know sooner or later it will happen again, so I just bought the two pieces. I'm gonna replace them. I'm gonna make a separate video how to file the trigger box, the pieces inside. I'm gonna link it in the description. Maybe I'm gonna do it today after I finish this one. But anyways, no matter what you do, if you shoot it enough, it will happen. So the next topic is Hopup, more specifically Hopup adjustment. KAC and SCAR are just superior. Way better, way easier to adjust because of the system itself, how they've done it. The 416s and the Honey Badger, it's just a pain. What you need to do, you either have to disassemble it and take out the bolt, and then you can adjust it from the back, or you can take a rod. I don't have it here, I lost it, surprise, surprise. But if you have a rod thinner than this, with an Allen key soldered onto the tip, you can actually do it from the outside. Take it like this, and you can adjust the Hopup, but you need to keep this. It's just, I don't like it at all, to be honest. That's a huge disadvantage of the Honey Badger and the 416. How you can solve this? That's again this rifle from my colleague. He actually drilled a hole all the way to the Hopup chamber and put a screw here. I can show you. And now I can adjust the Hopup just by turning this screw. It's not easy to do. I wouldn't be able to do it. But that's an option. If you do it like this, you can adjust it from the top. Then the platform is good when it comes to Hopup adjustment. But other than that, I don't like it at all. In fact, that's the reason why I'm not playing with my 416, because I just don't like the adjustment. Let's talk about the SCAR a little bit. It's the same principle as with the KAC. There is a little thing, again I'm gonna put an overlay there, and you can just adjust it with your finger or maybe with some tool, because the opening for the SCAR is a little bit too narrow. Best thing ever is the KAC. The opening is way bigger than in case of the SCAR. You can easily adjust it with your finger. I like it. So next point is upgrades. We all like upgrades, but with gas blowback rifles, this is true for every single gun on the table. You only need to exchange the Hopup rubber, maybe the barrel. I haven't seen much of a difference when I switched to Maple Leaf barrel or the Ratek, and do the NPAS mod. I've made a video. You can actually take the piece that's inside of the nozzle and make it adjustable. That's it. Don't do anything else. I'm not a huge fan of Ratek because everything, the bolt is much heavier, the Ratek one. Then the forces impacting backwards are just too much for the body to handle. It can break your gun. Just don't do it. If you don't know what you are doing, if you are not sure that you want a heavier bolt in your gun, just don't do it. I know there are people that have successfully put Ratek parts inside. They are maybe having plus 5, 10, maybe even more meters per second FPS, but it's not necessary. I'm happy with what I have. Here actually I have a Ratek bolt. I tried to modify it because it just wasn't working. I tried to make it lighter because the cycle is then faster. It can handle lower temperatures, but we will get to that. It's just sitting here. I'm thinking about throwing it away. For me, it's useless. Like I told you, that's my personal opinion. It's subjective. Do your own research. My advice is exchange the rubber, maybe the barrel if you have the money, and do the adjustable NPAS in the nozzle. That's it. You don't need anything else. All of the forums that I've read, people had to file things and make it smoother, and it's just not worth the hassle. It works like it is. Trust me. If you hit the dislike now, yeah. I just want to tell you what I think, and I don't want to be like, hey, everything is fine, you can put everything. It's nonsense. Just save your money. Next thing, screw glue. Man, screw glue. Where is it? I need to show you because that's the best thing you can do. So if you are running a GBBR, use screw glue, the weak one or the middle strength one, because the impacts of the gun, they will just rattle your screws out and you will probably lose them. The biggest problem of all of the guns have the scar because there is a lot of screws, short screws, so they are really easy to get out. After you cycle the thing a few times, you play with it. All of these screws here, everything will walk away from your gun if you don't use screw glue. In the case of KAC, there is less screws. These two, glue them in. Here is a set screw for the barrel, glue it in. Here are two screws, glue them in. Here, screws, glue them in. Everything, just glue everything. So with the scar, make sure to glue these two screws up here. They will get loose and then this will impact under an angle and it will screw everything up in your gun. Glue this, glue this. Seriously, it happened to me. I'm gonna show you, I still have the bolt. So this is my old scar bolt, and as you can see, this is not original. It's an insert that my friend made because it broke off, and that happened because I haven't glued it in. So next thing what I have on my list is temperature. What I mean by that is cold temperature. When it's getting colder, the 416 and the honey badger will stop working first because the bolt is the heaviest. Then scar will stop working, and then the KAC. So the KAC is the best. It can handle the lowest temperatures compared to 416 and the scar. Why is that? Because the bolt in here is the lightest, here it's the heaviest, and here I think it's somewhere in the middle. I'm not completely sure about that, but that's what I have observed. When I played with my gun, I wasn't able to play anymore, but my friend Spider, he played. So the next topic is magazines. We have two magazines, two types. We have the Stanek and the PMAC. Stanek will work with every single gun. It's just fine, it works. But PMAC is the point where everything changes. I feel like they fit better into every gun. They are not wobbly as much as the Staneks. So I prefer these. I have total of, how many? 4 of PMACs, and I have 1 Stanek left because I sold most of them. At one point I had 8 magazines. I wasn't using them, I sold them. PMAC will work with scar without no modification. And it's not wobbly. It's not wobbling in the gun. It just feels better. It will also work with the honey badger with no modification. It's a little bit wobbly. It will also work with the KAC. And it's not as wobbly as the Stanek. But when it comes to 416s, it won't work stock because the angle here is straight. It won't go all the way in because it will stop on this part. I have modified these magazines. I'm gonna show you up close. You have to just remove some material here. I also modified the magazine shaft here. I took off some material here. So now it will fit the 416. And it fits. A little bit wobbly, but it fits. Stock PMAX won't go inside. So the best way to make it fit is to modify first the chamber on the gun and then the magazine. Otherwise, if you only want to modify the magazine, you will have to take off more material to make it fit. So I chose the option to file the inside of the chamber and to modify this to make it less visible, let's say. Next topic that I have is the ease of disassembly. All of them are very easy to disassemble. You cannot compare this to an AEG. If something happens in the field, you can, it's so easy. You just take out this pin. That's it. You can work on this. When something happens, it's usually the nozzle only. So you just remove this. You take a different one. You put it in, that's it. You are good to go. Probably the strongest point that I like about GBBRs is just if something breaks, you exchange one part, which is super easy, and that's it. When it comes to complete disassembly, 416 is the hardest, then the honey badger, then probably the scar, and the KAC is the easiest to work on, in my opinion, but really all of them are quite simple. I would give the points to the KAC because I just like it better. Recoil. Next point that I have is recoil and the feeling that you get from the gun. Let's start with the 416. So since the bolt is the heaviest, if you are shooting the gun, it's more like pushing you back. It's like hum. It's not as snappy as the KAC, which is not a bad thing. It's not a good thing necessarily. It depends on your preference. Let's fire the gun. It's empty. See, I'm checking the chamber. Magazine is empty. So now let's talk about the scar. Probably a little lighter, I would say, than the 416, but it's due to the length of the bolt, it's like it's ringing. You can hear at the end of the shot, you can hear the ringing lasting a little bit longer, which I like a lot. It's more like you can hear the metal just impacting, and it's really a nice feeling of the scar. So once again, checking the chamber, there is no BB. Okay, I already can tell that there is again the problem with the trigger box starting to creep in. And now when I release the trigger, slowly you can hear that it will fire again. And it fired. I'm gonna show you with the magazine. So that's the problem with the trigger box. It will happen with every single gun. So I'm gonna shoot. Now I shot, and I'm gonna release the trigger, it will fire again. Hear that? That's the problem with all of the guns. I'm gonna make a video how to solve this. It's easy, but the best thing is probably to buy a new trigger and a new hammer. Honey Badger, basically the same as the 416. The bolt is the same. You can exchange them. Feels really good actually, because it's lighter. You can feel the recoil more because this is heavier. And my favorite, KAC, is just, it feels faster. The bolt, it's lighter. It feels like it's traveling faster and it's really snappy. My preference, KAC, then probably the scar because of the ring at the end, and then if you like heavier recoil, then probably the 416 or the Honey Badger. Next topic is the weight. I personally prefer lighter guns because I'm running a lot on the field. So you guessed it, that's the heaviest, then probably the scar, Honey Badger, and then KAC or the Honey Badger. Depends, I don't know the exact weight. So the weight, for me, it's a huge deal because I have all the cameras, all the batteries on the gun. We are coming to the accuracy. If you have a slightly longer barrel, I don't think it really matters. So I prefer shorter packages. Out of a longer barrel, you get a little bit more FPS, but if you have the adjustable end pass inside of the nozzle, it's really not a big deal. You can just adjust it to your preference. You can get around corners easily with shorter guns. This is my gun. It's pretty long, but if I should compare the accuracy of this thing compared to this gun, both of them are mine, I don't see a big difference. I'm using 0.4 BBs. They are stable in the wind. The fly path is just on point. I prefer this shorter version over this longer version all day long. If you prefer longer guns, more power to you. You will be playing with the gun, not me. I like short guns. Maple Leaf 602, it's the way to go in my case. I like them. I haven't had any problems. To be honest, I have it in this gun and I haven't cleaned it at least for a year. The whole season I played with this gun, haven't cleaned it. It was dirty. It was really dirty. I had to run the rod like 10 times to make it clean through the barrel. It just kept working. Yeah, last but not least, huge thing when it comes to gas blowback rifles, particularly WE, is the proper way to fill the magazines. I'm gonna probably make a new video on this because it's really important, but I'm gonna tell you right now. There is a little bit of science going on. At first, like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, when I started playing with gas blowback rifles, we had this problem in our team that we were not able to get like a full mag out of the gun because we didn't know how to fill them. It's basically 2 containers with gas. If you have the same temperature, there is the same pressure. If the temperature of this is higher than this, here is more pressure than here, which means that if here is more pressure than here, the gas will actually try to get from here to this bottle, which is the opposite of what you want. So if you are filling the magazines, make sure that this bottle is a little bit warmer than the magazine. Otherwise, the gas just won't go inside. The problem is actually the filling valve, because it's not 2-stage valve. If you look at Marui, they have a hole in the valve, and if you are filling the magazine, there is a gas escaping. You can hear hissing. That means there is actually, how should I explain this? I know that Airsoft Innovations did a nice video with nice animations explaining this, so I'm gonna try to link it in the description. The Tokyo Marui style valve is actually allowing the gas that's already inside to escape and be replaced by new gas, liquid gas, from the bottle. So you don't have this problem with the temperature difference of the magazine and this thing. But WE doesn't have this, so you need to make sure this is a little bit warmer than this. If you are running in the summer with the magazines on your belt, the sun will heat them up. You keep this probably somewhere in the shade. This is a little bit colder and the gas is not coming in. Make sure to fill this to 70 or 80% tops. If you fill the gas all the way up in the magazine, then there will be liquid gas all the way to the top, and when you fire, there will be gas coming out of the gun, which is not good, because the Hopup rubber gets frozen, the whole mechanism will get colder, the accuracy will be screwed up, it won't have that much of a power. And there have been tests by different players, experienced players, and they tried to fill it by just 80%, and they were able to get more shots out of this than if you fill it to 100%. So in the end, what I would say, every gun on this table is good. My preference is KAC. So I hope that the information that I just gave you will help you make an informed decision, because that was my goal. You don't need to listen to my advice to buy this or that. I just wanted to give you the information, all the little details that I have found out over the recent years. In the end, it's gonna be your gun, your money, your decision, so choose wisely. That's it. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up, comment, subscribe. I will always appreciate that. If you have different experience or different opinion, make sure to put it in the comments, because other people will be reading it and your comment may be able to help them or give them another perspective than just my subjective view on the topic. So yeah, see you in the next video. Yeah, now I'm gonna make a video on each of the gun separately, discussing the little details, what should you change, what should you do, which screws to glue, and so on and so forth. So make sure to watch them as well. Peace. Okay, that would be the ending.